Sup everyone, this is Karak from ACG, the Bearded Shaman of Gaming, bringing you another review for another game, hey, on another day. What's this game, you say? Well, it's the Afro Samurai and Tron had a baby love child known as Furi. You play as a man stuck in a demonic jail of techno-Asian-inspired badness. The jailer is the key. Kill him and you'll be free. That's the advice you're given by the obviously not creepy dude who let you go when you set off to take your wicked techno sword and occasionally use sidearm out into the world of boss battles against a menagerie of mastery of martial arts and magical kinds. It's all built into an adjusting isometric real-time camera system that does its best to keep your slicing and dicing protagonist front and center. Let's see how Furi does in the boss battle genre, shall we? As always, if you like the video, maybe subscribe. So here's the review for Furi. Even in hell, people use Beats for headphones, the world's smallest Big Daddy, and tranquil walks through the forest with a man wearing the decapitated head of the rabbit from Donnie Darko. Graphics are up first. You know, when you think about it, the last time we got to see the creator of Afro Samurai's designs were in the amazing and awe-inspiring game Afro Samurai 2, a title so bad it was removed from sale like a delisted stock on the stock market. Here, though, we see the designs coming through in a far cleaner manner and coupled with a smoother graphics engine. This means we get to see the neon-soaked environments, excellent level design, and amazing character design, and we also get to realize what all the fuss is about. And while the stylistic design may not speak to all of us, the sense of unique characterization here is incredibly high, and regardless of the environment you're slow stepping it through, the locations between the bosses reflect the overall theme in which they themselves resonate, which is completely awesome. Whether it's the dark and swarmy swamps of the dive suit wearing baddie with harpoon gauntlets, or the sweeping and empty desert prior to engaging the wise master. There is a sense of form and function that is incredibly high here, and it sort of works to match the world together. And overall, the animations are wonderfully done throughout, and aside from a small delay in the burst movement that I had to work around, attacks and reactions are split second. You know, graphically, it doesn't matter if it's throwing hundreds of flowing death orbs in perfect synchronized beat at your head or electrifying the horns of a fantasy warrior bent on your demise. A good deal of Furi is just damn sweet to look at. It also ran very well with no skipped frames, which is something I can't say for a lot of other games. As a package, I'd say it's really, really good for what it offers. Sound, music, and voice.
I am fighting for something much greater than this. Can you imagine the strength that gives me? I doubt it. And so your fight ends here.
She started it all. She even got me locked up.
And of course, as you guys know, sound is always up first. While at first appearing like a mixed bag, I think it's important to remember that a good deal of the action here is translated through a fantasy filter of magical mayhem and technological oddities, meaning that things like your sword sweeping through the air doesn't sound like metal pushing air out of the way, it sounds like a musical note from the high end of a xylophone sped up and being played inside of a glass house, giving a very high, airy, technological sound, while your handgun is more of a classical laser pistol. While occasionally sounds do have a tendency of getting muddled up against one another with shared frequencies, there were countless times where I used sound to save my life, as I kept one eye on a series of blasts coming my way, but heard the inevitable sound of a rising wave attack crush in the air as it made its way towards me. I always like to look at sound as a package. Does it fit the theme? Does it fit all of the pieces together? And this really does. There are a couple little issues here and there, and a couple times where it got a little bit muddled, but as a whole, great sound. Music. This is as close to the Expendables version of a soundtrack that I've ever heard, with peeps like Carpenter Brute, Lorne, Waveshaper, and others. It's pretty much a techno feast, one part crunchy, the other part, hey, let's go walk through the digital flowers and talk about our feelings. It's excellent music with resounding beats during intense boss battles that fade out into tranquil pieces during the moment you walk between the bosses. They have samples of more eclectic fare like triangles, but it's the little things like the beat in one track that perfectly corresponds to the footsteps of the protagonist that does a really good job solidifying music within the game world and makes them feel intertwined versus being two separate entities. Excellent soundtrack with almost zero missed opportunities to excel here. Voice. You know, I'd say this is pretty good. While most of it is the voices of enemies discussing the various ways they're going to use your insides like a swimming pool, or your constant companion saying the same thing in 100 different ways, the voice acting is the somewhat eclectic affair that you would expect from an Afro Samurai game. Those times when someone says something about honor and mayhem being lovers from the same mothers, and it leaves you wondering what the hell he meant, and then they laugh, making you wonder if now you're in on the joke, part of the joke, or having a mushroom-induced fever dream. For what it aims to do, which is offer respite and thought-provoking opinions between action-packed moments, it does that pretty well. But if you're not a fan of this kind of stuff, there's really going to be nothing here to make you suddenly be one. And when it comes down to it, I think the voices were delivered fairly good. Gameplay. Furi is really a story about what it's like to escape your own personal hell. In this case, our flowing white-haired friend with a Donnie Darko extra moves from location to location, taking out main bosses on his search to take out the main boss, who has the key to let him escape this hell. Unfortunately, the camera systems during the downtimes means that you're going to have a lot of driving Miss Daisy moments, which means you don't know who's in control, the camera or you, because the camera just occasionally switches, which also means that the controls should switch, but they don't, resulting in you bouncing, meandering, and rubbing around the different parts of the level until you basically take your thumb off the thumbstick, let it reset, and start again. Luckily, that stops at the border, and when you're fighting the bosses, you don't need to worry about any of that. You don't need to worry about skills, talents, attributes, and equipment, or charisma. What you do need to worry about is a series of stylized, nightmarish bad guys, all coming at you with all intents and purposes of bearing you back into the prison from which you came from. So you shoot, stab, sprint, parry, and quick time your way through them, matching patterns with movement, and altogether looking like a neon-laced badass. It's the mastery of the game's systems of movement, parry, reaction, and action, and understanding not only boss patterns, but the slight moments of inaction that can fool you into thinking, yo, I got this, only to most assuredly not have this and get your ass handed to you that matters so much in this game. Luckily, both you and the enemies have a number of life bars, resulting in assorted timepieces of anarchy. Really, where Furi's rubber meets the road is the fact that almost no battle overstays its welcome. This isn't Shadow of the Colossus. This is bite-sized and completely edible chunks of bosses that have far more connected lifespans than, honestly, I originally expected. The only thing is that you need to remember there's nothing else you do in the title. You beat the shit out of someone, walk to the next area, and then do it again. So basically it's Bloodsport, but in different rings and all laced in neon. Now, for some people, there might be some gripes, and I'm not going to lie, some of you might find some of the boss battles incredibly fast, and in many ways, it's designed that way, with speedruns and leaderboards for those kind of things being available. It's not only a game about understanding patterns, but also how quickly you can take advantage of them, with easy mode being everyone able to, and escalating filters of excellent gameplay as you move up in the difficulty levels. Here's the thing, this is not a game for everybody, but what it's done is distilled down boss battling, and then added some story in between. Fun factor, it is a blast. Listen, there's nothing here but battling and occasionally walking around with somebody until you're introduced to Hellbound Psycho number 9, and then that gameplay begins again. The game isn't just about identifying avenues of egress and movement and attack, it's about understanding how to use them as quickly as possible as you move forward and maybe as you repeat the game. Here's what's best, the game is coming out for free on PSN on the 5th and is $24.99 on Steam on the 5th as well. So as you guys know, I rate games on a buy, wait for sale, rent, or on a case of a PC game, deep sale, or never touch it rating scale. While free is great on PSN, $24.99 is a pretty hefty price if you're on the PC, even though it does have a good number of guys to face, and because of the way the story unfolds, it isn't a super short title. It is still a buy for me. Now, if you're not into this game, nothing is going to change your mind. Some people see the boss fight genre as some kind of lazy man's endgame, but this isn't. It's a unique story told between absolutely excellent boss battles that don't overstay their welcome. And even though this isn't my favorite genre, this is an absolutely excellent and incredibly fun title. So as always, if you guys like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you disliked it, give it a thumbs down. Maybe check out the Twitter or the Patreon. And as you guys know, for real game reviews that, review the entire actual game, stick with ACG. Peace out and enjoy the rest of your weekend.